watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
all in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion, going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K is the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back, giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche. And after 22 years, Raymond Mark
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
And welcome to another edition of the Eye Test here in the Sick Podcast Network. He is Pierre McGuire. I am Jimmy Murphy. Pierre, how are you, my friend?
Very well. How you doing, Jimmy?
I'm doing great. Better than my Red Sox, trailing by 2 in the ninth. But
How about how humped up they are in Toronto? People are jacked up in Toronto for baseball. Nobody's even talking about the Leafs. It's unbelievable. Everybody's talking about the Blue Jays.
Yeah, is that on Sports Rage there you've been on? Or what do they call it? Toronto Sports
Rush.
Sports Rush.
Toronto
That's right.
Sports
Yeah,
Rush, But the Blue Jays are smoking hot.
No, one of my friends went to him recently here, and he said that the place was loud as you could be. He said, I haven't heard it this way since the 90s. So
yeah, but that's great. It's great for baseball. It's good. You know what? It's good for – I think it's good for the Leafs too. It's kind of like when the Giants and the Yankees get off – the Giants get off to a good start and the Yankees are in the postseason. It takes some pressure off of the Rangers.
Bingo. Yeah.
And I think it'll help the Leafs. I do. It's not – I don't care who wins and loses, but I think it helps the Leafs to get off to a good start.
Other teams, and I totally agree. When other teams in the city do well in the beginning of the season, you can kind of, not that you're going to slide into the season, Pierre, but if you have some bumps out of the gate, it doesn't get noticed as much. Pierre, we got a great show in store here. We're actually going to go right to our guest right now. You've seen him here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network before, and he is here again. And that is NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly joining us by phone here on the Eye Test. So we got him, or maybe not yet. Oh, we lost him. He will be right back. We will get him hooked up. But we're having little technical difficulties. We'll get to that in a second. Pierre, all the training camps, actual practices got underway today. Seeing tons of tweets of lines and pairings and all that, and people getting excited. But as we said yesterday, just calm, because those are going to change so much over the next month or so.
Well, the teams are really getting after. They're actually having team scrimmages. I know in Minnesota they got 3 different teams, and they're having like intense in-your-face scrimmages.
Yeah.
Vladdy Tarasenko had a hat trick today in one of the scrimmages.
Oh, great.
So yeah, no, it was good. I know that Jared Spurgeon had a couple points. Some young guy assisted to him, so it was all good. Yeah, it was good.
Good stuff. Yeah, because I saw when I got the schedule for the Bruins, they were jumping right into the scrimmages already, and they're going to be doing a lot of them as they go on. Pierre, before we get Bill on the topic of training camp, I wanted to ask you this, and I figured the listeners would enjoy it because you've always got great stories. What's a funny training camp story you've experienced, whether as a player or a coach or manager?
Back in the day, the collective bargaining agreement was a little bit different. So what we did was the players didn't know we were doing this. You only could have your players for 3 hours the first day. So that counted physicals. It counted everything. Like that was your max you could have was 3 hours. So we didn't tell them. We did physicals, put them on a bus, brought them to the airport, and flew right to Burlington, Vermont. And it only took like 35 minutes from Bradley Field to Burlington. It was about 35 minutes in the air. And we went right to the rink and practiced. We were going on a camping trip. We were going to the ice.
Good stuff.
We actually had fun. It was a lot of fun. It was
fun. Well, we got Bill. We'll get back to some of those training camp stories too. Reminding me when the Bruins went to Vermont the year they won the Cup. It helps teams a lot to do those trips. All right, let's get the NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly joining us by phone here in the Eye Test. Mr. Deputy Commissioner, how are you, my friend?
Oh, how are you?
Good, Bill. You ready for another season?
Yeah, sure am. That's comes quick, but we're up and running.
Great stuff.
It comes quick when you're as busy as you've been, Deputy Commissioner. You got the Olympics going. You got the potential for another Foreign Nations event down the road. You've got collective bargaining that you're intricately involved with. So how do you manage your time with all these things going, Bill?
It was a very busy summer, Pierre, but a good one, right? So I don't have a problem with spending my time on things that are productive, and I think continue to make a lot of progress and growth for the league and the business and the game on the ice. So it's all been good.
Bill, we've spoken before for written articles I've done about how the CBA negotiations went, but for our listeners and viewers here, just talk to us about how impressed you were by the harmony between both sides and the willingness to bend at certain times and to go forward and not to sort of get side railed by any little differences you may have.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a really good process from start to finish. That included, we negotiated separately kind of cap and escrow levels for the next 3 years on a projected basis. We did that in, December, January time period. And then when we got down to actual bargaining, I didn't really know how it was going to go. It was, we started right at the beginning of, what was it, April, before the playoffs started. And, I think we had maybe there were all small group sessions, so it was three people on each side. We obviously each kind of reported back to our experts in different areas and formulated bargaining positions. But I thought the construct worked very well. We had I guess 10 in-person meetings. And a whole bunch of Zoom calls and conference calls and exchanged emails and the like. So it was full on bargaining for a good 3-month period, which is long enough. I've been through longer ones. It's definitely long enough. And what I've said about the process, which I had never experienced before, is that I never left one of our meetings with a thought process that we had moved backwards in any material way. Forging an agreement. We always made progress. We didn't, as to your point, we didn't solve every issue. And at the end of the day, not all the issues that were tabled really were resolved. But at a certain point, we all felt like it was time. We had a sound agreement, good understanding, put the pencils down and shake hands. So, I mean, from that vantage point, I thought it was a very, very good process.
We lost Bob Goodenow the other day, Bill, and I know you had to do some dealing with Bob over the course of your career. Do you have any favorite Bob Goodenow stories to share?
I have a bunch of Bob Goodenow stories I could share. I'm not sure I could share it on the radio, though. Or on a podcast. Look, at the end of the day, we obviously didn't see eye to eye on very many issues. Back in the day. Having said that, I certainly admire kind of the role he played for the Players Association and the passion he had in terms of representing players to the best of his ability. And he'll be missed, and obviously a tragedy that his life passed so soon. So obviously my condolences to Wendy and his family, and he was a worthy adversary for a long period of time. He accomplished a lot of great things for the players.
He did,
and I think I think he deserves a lot of credit for that.
So, Jimmy, I've told this story to you before. I want to share it with Bill. I'm not sure Bill's aware of it. So, one of your early forays into collective bargaining with Bob, I got a call, and Bob thought that I wasn't treating the player side very fairly in one of the labor situations. So Bob actually asked me to go to his office in Toronto, and I did. And he wanted to go. Like, he wanted to have a fist fight in his office. And I said, okay, I'd be more than happy to accommodate you. And it came close and never really happened. And we all of a sudden after that, we became friends. It was an unbelievable dynamic. And the last time I saw him was in Houghton, Michigan. I was up there doing a game with Doc Emmerich for Craft Hockey Day, I believe. It was St. Louis and Detroit. And we sat down and had breakfast at a Finnish diner. I'm not kidding you, in Houghton, Michigan. It was the happiest I ever saw Bob Goodenow. And we had the most amazing time. It was probably a 2.5 hour breakfast. And I'll never forget it. And it all started, I'm telling you, like, he wanted to have a fist fight in his office in Toronto. It was crazy.
That's a funny story, and it's very consistent with my experience with Bob. I mean, I would tell you, intimidation and sometimes physical intimidation was a real card he loved to play. And the real test of whether you were going to survive in dealing with Bob is whether you stood up to him. And I think deep down inside, he respected people who stood up to him.
I agree.
And and that's, I suppose that's common in a lot of people, but the fact that it was new to me that somebody thought they could prove a point through physical intimidation.
Hey, Jimmy, just so our listeners know, because, the one good thing about Bill, he's not braggadocious at all. So I'll brag on him a little bit here. Bill's a really good football player in the state of New Jersey. New Jersey football, high school football in particular, is pretty darn competitive. And he was a fullback and running back at Dartmouth. So people don't realize that about Bill Daly. He was a Division I athlete. So just so everybody understands the context of that.
Yep. And Bill, I hope your Dolphins do pretty well tonight. They can pull an upset off. For America, we'll see. But I want to look back just on last year, Bill. And I know it's a kind of loaded question, so just pick like one thing. What was one thing where you came away from last year, and you said deep down? Now you already mentioned the CBA, but you said deep down as you're walking away, we nailed that, and I'm really proud of my crew and the team and how we got that together and we made it work. What was one event that you think of when I say that?
Well, for me, it's the Four Nations face-off. I think that was, a home run on every level, and we got very fortunate, right? You don't hit a home run to that extent or that far out of the park without a little bit of good fortune, like somebody grooving it right down the middle of the plate for you. But it was fantastic. I participated today in some of these RFP workshops that we're doing for North American venues or potential North American venues for the World Cup of Hockey in 2028. And, some of the stats that tournament generated, and just the interest rose way above the level of kind of hockey interest, right? It achieved another level, and it's really exciting, and it bodes really, really well for how valuable our World Cup of Hockey property can become, and quite frankly, how valuable international best on best hockey can be over the next foreseeable future. With every 2 years participating in the Olympics, followed by the World Cup, followed by the Olympics. It's going to be special for hockey, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm so happy you said that, because we kind of lost our way after not having Olympics in Seoul and Beijing. And, it broke my heart after Sochi when nobody went. And I get it. I know there were a lot of politics, and I know there were some owners that were against it. I know I don't want to get into it with our listeners right now. I don't think it's fair to you or to them. But I'm really happy the league found a way to get back into the Olympic body. And I totally agree with what you said about international hockey and the potential for a World Cup. Bill, what's the one thing that has to happen to get the Russians into good grace? I'm not talking about the war in Ukraine. Is that the thing that's holding up the Russians getting back on the international stage?
Yeah, I would say, yes, I would say that's probably exclusively the thing that's holding them up from getting back on the stage. And we're not going to tie ourselves necessarily to the position of the IOC or the IIHF on this. We'll make our own decision. Having said that, I think the world was pretty universally condemned the Russian aggression in Ukraine, and I'm not sure they've taken appropriate steps to remedy that. Certainly at this point in time. So we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully there's an end in sight. But we've said that before at different points. It's been a long time. It's I think the invasion was in March of 22. So we're more than 3 years into this, and it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for Russian athletics, period, but clearly unfortunate for Russian hockey.
I totally agree.
Bill, just to further on that, as this has gone on, what is the level of communication between the league and the Russian Hockey Federation and the KHL been like? Has it stayed the same? Has it gotten worse? Or, are you able to maintain some kind of relationship with them as this drags on?
It's a fair question. What I'd say is we don't do a lot. We don't have a lot of dealings with them. Mm-hmm. We have picked up, I guess, the level of communication on particular player situations from time to time. We have certain restrictions in place that are legal restrictions in terms of who we can deal with and what we can deal with them on, and what kind of business transactions we can have. So we're careful to abide by those obligations. But I would say, gradually over the course of the 3+ years, our level of communication has probably picked up a bit.
The NFL's done a magnificent job in terms of playing regular season games over in Europe. There's talk that they might even expand there. Do you see? I'm sure you're going to not tell us, but I'll have to ask you anyways. Is there going to be expansion in North America within the National Hockey League relatively soon?
In North America?
Yes.
That's the question. So the answer to that is I don't know. No, so the answer to that, the honest answer to that is I don't know. We certainly wouldn't shy away from an expansion opportunity if it presented itself and it was something that worked for us and felt right. We're not at all, afraid of kind of the dilution effect, because I think there's a lot of good hockey players out there and a lot of good hockey players being produced all over the world. Far more sources than we've ever had before. So I'm not worried about a lack of good hockey players or qualified NHL players. But the other factors have to be right. It has to be impactful for the league in a positive way. There's got to be good ownership. There's got to be a good arena facility, and there's got to be good demographics. So those are all items that will be taken into account should the situation arise. And so I'm certainly not saying never, but it's not happening tomorrow either. So there's nothing currently planned.
And have you ever had the discussion with the IIHF or even internally about the potential for a European division of the National Hockey League?
Well, certainly we haven't had that discussion with the IIHF yet. That would be one that requires a fair amount of beer in advance. Obviously we were asked that question a lot. And the way I like to answer is at some point it's going to be feasible and it's going to be the right thing to do. I don't think that we're close to that point yet, from a temporal perspective. Having said that, we're throwing a lot of resources at making sure that we're growing the game internationally, that we're connecting with our fan base internationally, that we're exposing our product and our players to fans internationally, and that we're doing what we need to do as good hockey citizens to support the development of players in European countries. That we have a player support and development agreement where we pay large sums of money to clubs in Europe for the further production of players, and it's been a good relationship over time. It's produced a lot of good players for us and our teams, and I think generally we have a very good reputation relationship with the international hockey world.
Bill, just on that note, in terms of international hockey, the Global Series has done really well and keeps doing well every season. Have you guys looked into maybe playing some games in more non-traditional markets over in Europe? Pierre and I go over to Ireland. We're going there again, and we were just stunned at the passion for the game, the eagerness to learn the game, and how it's growing there and in the UK. Is there talks ever to maybe look into some rising hockey markets, so to speak?
Yeah, we evaluate those opportunities all the time, and quite frankly, evaluate what the proper strategy is. We want to stay strong where we're strong,
Right.
but certainly to the extent we can extend the interest and the reach to non-traditional hockey markets or countries, we should be doing that. There's certainly opportunities in European countries where sports is valued and people are interested, not surprisingly, where we think there's certainly a lot of upside in our ability to kind of make inroads. And we'll be focused on developing those markets, and it is a priority. Your listeners probably say we say this all the time, but it continues to be a priority for us. We're devoting more and more resources to it. We have developed ball hockey programs in the schools in four different European countries and in China. We have a global hockey tour event that goes from country to country, exposes hockey communities to NHL hockey. There's a lot we're doing currently to we have a hockey day program where we celebrate hockey on particular days throughout European countries. So spending a lot of resources on kind of building that engagement, and we'll continue to do that.
One of the things you guys have been so good at is being loyal to ownership in different cities. It's amazing. I've watched it for the last 37 years, almost 36 since Commissioner Bettman came in. Anyways, long story short, Bill, I think what's gone on, the movement of the franchise from Arizona to Utah has been fantastic. How excited are you in the league office about putting a footprint into the state of Utah and Salt Lake City in particular?
Well, I think certainly that was part of the appeal of what we ended up doing. We did look into everything that Ryan Smith was telling us about Utah as a state and Salt Lake City as a community. It's young, it's sports minded, it's outdoors, there's a lot of attributes about the citizens of Utah that align with kind of NHL values and hockey values and really aligns with our sport. And so it has been a perfect fit. And I'll tell you, we couldn't find a better ownership group than we did. Ryan and Chris Armstrong has done a fabulous job there from start to finish. I think they just unveiled their new practice facility yesterday. It's gorgeous, getting very high level reviews from the players. They're doing everything first class. It's just a matter of time until that team cracks the ceiling.
Great stuff. Good stuff. Pierre, Bill, we appreciate you taking the time. We know you're a busy man. And listen, sometime we got to get you over to Belfast for the Friendship 4. I think you'd love it.
I'd love to do it.
All right.
Don't challenge him, Jimmy. He will do it. Trust me.
We'll give you the tour. It's an amazing time. But anyhow, best of luck. Bill, thanks a lot for your time. We'll see you down the road. All right.
Thanks, Jimmy. Thanks, Pierre.
All right. NHL Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly joining us here on the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network. Lots going on with the league here.
The league's got to get smart here, because if they don't have a backup plan for when Commissioner Bettman leaves and they don't have Daly ready, I guarantee you there's going to be somebody who's going to snap him up. Yeah. So because I'm telling you what he's done with collective bargaining, that's why I asked him the question about Bob Goodnow.
Right.
There's certain things I can share, certain things I can't, but I'm just telling you, they better have and I hope they do. I think they do. I think Commissioner Bettman's smart enough to do this, a succession plan.
Yep.
And if Daly's not involved in it, then they're making a big mistake.
I agree 100%. I think the way he handles media and fans as well, Pierre, it's just over the years it's gotten better and better. But
because he's got practice.
He gets it.
Exactly.
He gets it. You know what I mean? Like, he really gets it now, and I think that's huge for the league to have the guys at the top be willing to explain stuff to the fans and not just do huge moves and make things and new teams and expansion, all that. They include the fans and why they're doing everything they're doing. And I think that's huge right now.
You got to have experience in all these things. It's like what I asked him was hard to do. I was mad at the league. He knows. Yeah. I told them to their face. Like, I didn't make it public, but I said, you guys are making a huge mistake here. I know you're pissed off because you're not getting money from the IIHF to go to the Olympics. Your players are going to be pissed. Trust me when I tell you. Yep. And you ask any player, they were pissed for those years.
You have to agree, Pierre, that was one of the top 3 factors in the CBA.
I'm just telling you, like, I've had players come up to me going, why aren't we going? And I said, I don't want to tell you. Why don't you ask your union rep, or why don't you ask the league? It's not my business not to tell you or to tell you. But now it is. Now I can say it. There were owners in the league, and you heard Bill didn't respond saying, no, Pierre, you're not right. I said it. There were owners in the league that said, no way, we're not going.
Yep.
Well, and I knew who they were. And I was like, what? And I called up one of the GMs. I'm like, what are you doing? You got to talk to your owner, man. You're going to stop all the momentum. The TJ Oshie shootout game. You go look at it in all the annals. What it did for the NHL on a worldwide basis was mammoth.
Of course. And, as much, and I agree with him, the Four Nations was successful, and as great as it did.
It was, but it wasn't. It was,
right.
I didn't want to be disrespectful. It was, but it wasn't. If it was so successful, they wouldn't have had to combine the Canadian ratings and the U.S. ratings.
Yes, correct.
Okay, it's the first time they've ever done that. And they still don't admit it, but they did.
Yeah. But my point is, Pierre, it's never going to compare to the Olympics. The Olympics
is come on, no chance.
And you have so much more reach, as you just pointed out, to grow the game in the Olympics versus that.
Okay, these are numbers that can't be disputed. Cannot be disputed. The 2010 gold medal game. I did the game with Chris Cuthbert on Canadian TV. There were 33 million people that lived in Canada. 25 million of 33 watched the game. It's not even close. Like, you don't even think about going there.
Yeah.
32 million watched it in the States.
Yeah. It was insane. It was one of the best games ever too. But another thing too, Pierre, I think that, the NHL, I want to give them credit for, because I was critical of them when they were doing this. They're seeing the big picture, the long road a little more. I think you'd agree. Bill does. Right. Because sometimes I just feel like it's always the immediate pay that they're looking for, the immediate dividends instead of the long road dividends. And I think that Bill has played a major role in that.
He has, but I know the fans love to give it to Commissioner Bettman. And please listen, because I don't have a dog in the fight, but I'm telling you the truth. I've been on the board of governors. I've testified in arbitrations. I've done a lot in the league. And this is important to hear. When I got in the league, the annual revenues for the league were $500 million. The revenue today is close to $6.5 billion. Think about that for 1 second.
Argue that.
You can't. That's number one. Franchise values have gone from $50 million before Commissioner Bettman to almost $2 billion under Commissioner Bettman. So that's number two. Number three, this is the most labor harmony this league has had in a very long time.
Yeah.
And people are going to say it was Bill, and a lot of it's Bill, but a lot of it was Gary too.
Yep.
And again, this is really important for the smaller market teams. They did everything in their power to salvage Arizona, everything in their power. They've done everything in their power to allow the Canadian teams to compete by creating the Canadian Assistance Program. Nobody wants to hear it. It's a fact.
You never hear about that in the media, Pierre.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
And so as much as people want to rip on them, I'm telling you right now, those guys have been amazing stewards of the game. They have been. And I know it's easy to hate people at the top of the pyramid. I totally get it. I understand. But you got to be fair.
Yeah.
If they were making colossal mistake after colossal mistake, and I told you the one that they made was after 14, when they didn't go to the Olympics in 18 and they said, oh, it's because Pyeongchang is 4 hours away from Seoul. Bite it. Yeah. Shut up. You've chartered right into Pyeongchang. Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
And don't say, oh, there's no airport. I flew there. There's more than enough. That was ridiculous. That was because there were a few owners that had their nose out of joint because they didn't get boxes in Sochi and they didn't get money for insurance costs. Okay? Enough. Yep. That's what it was about. It wasn't about airports or anything else.
Well, I'm glad that they've come back to their senses and they're going now. I think it's going to be great for hockey. And we'd be remiss to, I want to mention our good friend Marty Walsh as well, the head of the NHLPA.
Glenn Healy, Marty Walsh, Ronnie Hainsey,
Yep.
They all did a great job. And they all of them, everybody that was in that room, they all deserve credit. All of them.
Great stuff. Good stuff. All right. Listen, we got questions lining up there, so I'm going to get right to our sponsors. First off, the Friendship 4 Series, as we referenced to Bill there. Very excited about that. They will be here in Boston this coming Tuesday. We will be at their reception at the Massachusetts State House in downtown Boston. We are actually, I can't say much about it yet because nothing's confirmed, but we're working on a special edition of the eye tests for that day. And once I get a confirmation on that, I will let you know. Hopefully I'll have it to tell you on Campus Friday tomorrow. We welcome on University of Denver head coach David Call. But big thanks as always to Cara Group Travel and Sarah Stanton and to all our friends at Belfast Giants. We are looking forward to that. I can't wait to see everyone next week. And also Betway, big football game today. As we mentioned, the Miami Dolphins and the Buffalo Bills.
Hold on. Can I just stop you right there?
What?
Who's it bigger for? Buffalo or the head coach and the GM of the Miami Dolphins?
Oh, I would say the latter. The latter.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's gone if they lose today, and I don't like to see any. I'm not celebrating anyone losing their
I
job.
think it's this. I've watched the press conferences from Florida. I've watched them play. Those guys are they better win tonight.
Yeah.
Miami better win tonight.
You know, that's funny you bring that, because I was thinking about that. I watched another video of him today. They were showing it on one of the sports channels, Pierre. And I want to ask you this too, because you've been in management, you've been in coaching. I don't know, maybe I'm getting old where I can start to read this, but can you start to see when a coach has lost the team with the way he handles questions in press conferences?
Yep.
Okay. Because it's just
that's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's tough to watch. Really,
I feel bad for him because you can tell he's a really smart guy.
Yeah,
really smart guy.
He's like a deer in headlights right now, man.
Yeah, he's starting to wonder whether he's doing the right things. You can tell.
Yeah. He made that comment after the first game about death, and it's all going to find us or something. It was really like, whoa. Anyhow, but big game there, Buffalo. Hopefully Miami can do the rest of the AFC East a favor. But I'll tell you what, let me talk to you about Betway, and I'll give you my pick for that game. Go to Betway right now. Bet the beauties with Betway. You can go right to the QR code right in front of you if you're watching, or the details section in the website, and create your new account. And even if you lose your first bet, you can get up to $200 credit. You must be 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. Always bet responsibly. And right now, this is not available in Ontario. All right, here's what I'm telling you for tonight. I'm not going to even touch the game because I got a bad feeling this could be a blowout. But then again, you never know. But I'm not going to go near it because it's not worth it. It's a minus 12.5. Last I looked, Buffalo is the favorite. Go with some props, and I'd go all over Josh Allen. I thought Josh Allen, even though the Buffalo seemed to win easily against the Jets, Pierre, he had a quiet game.
Hey, Jimmy, it's a hockey show. Let's go.
So he's bet Josh Allen touchdown to score. There we go. All right, let's go. What do we got for the Q&A? Peter Mendakaros. Pierre, regarding Habs prospects, outside of the most talked about prospects, name a couple to watch out for. Well, we've been saying Florian Jack.
Edstrom on defense would be one. He'd be one I think is really good. I mean, if you want guys below the NHL, I'd be watching Michael Hayes all year in Michigan. You can watch it on Big Ten Network, or you can watch it on Flow TV. I'm pretty sure I'd be watching those guys. But I think Edstrom's a guy. I watched him a lot last year in the American League. I think he's a guy that could be good.
Let's say he makes it out of camp, Pierre.
Well, if he makes it out of camp, then they got to wonder about what's happening with Reinbacher.
Yeah.
If he makes it out of camp, that's all today. Yeah.
All right. Next question. Franco. Good segue. Adam Edstrom seems to be close to NHL ready, but with the Habs depth chart, he seems last behind so many. How do you handle this as an agent?
No, you don't even deal with it. Let the player handle it himself. The agent, at the proper time, if you feel your client's getting, the short end of the stick, then you take care. But right now, that's why they have training camp. That's why they have preseason games. That's why they have prospect games. He's building up his portfolio, and he's doing a real good job with it, Adam. He's doing a real good job with it.
All right, next question. Juice _031017. According to David Pagnotta, Michael McLeod will be joining the Carolina Hurricanes. Thoughts on this move for the Canes? That is not confirmed. Because I don't want people to look back on the report and say it was false. He said he's hearing. He said did not confirm that yet. Last I saw, at least. But if that was to happen, Pierre, what would you think of that move?
That would be a good move. Mikey McLeod's a good player, really good player. He is. He can skate. Where he would fit on that team probably as a number 2. I think Jordan Stahl cemented as a 3. I think Mikey's probably a better 3 than a 2, but he can skate. He can really do stuff. He's a really good player. New Jersey will miss him. They will miss him. They already have missed him.
Yeah.
They were starting to build. If you look at it, they were starting to build. You had Heischer, you had Jack Hughes, and you had Mikey McLeod. They were building.
Austin Mercer, yeah.
But they could move Mercer to the wing and play him up higher in the lineup. Yeah. So they were building what they had to do at center, and losing Mikey's a pretty significant loss. Yeah. So I don't know whether he's going to Carolina or not. I don't think there'll be a shortage of suitors for him. I think there'll be a lot of teams that'll be interested in him. I've said this before. Jimmy knows. I tell him in our phone calls, and I say it almost every day. There are a lot of teams that got a lot of work to do. I said it yesterday in the show, and I'm going to say it again. This is the one year where if you're a GM and you're a pro scouting staff and you don't make a dent this season as a evaluator of talent and a procurer of talent, your team's not winning. This is the one year I can tell you what you start the year with better not be what you finish the year with, because you're not going to win.
Yeah, for sure. But get off to a good start.
That would help. That would help everybody.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, do you think if the Mammoth signed Carter Hart, he would be their number one, and would he be a game changer for them?
He'd be their number one for sure, and he would be a game changer. He's a real good goalie. You know, I don't know. You heard Bill just talk about the Utah market. It's why I asked him the question. I can tell you right now, the league did everything in their power. And I'm telling you everything to stay in Arizona, everything. And at one point they just said, we can't anymore. It's got to go. Right. And you saw how quick that transaction happened. And they found an amazing owner in Ryan Smith. An unbelievable. He is an amazing owner. I told that millions of people this about Jeffrey Vinnick. Ryan Smith's like the Jeffrey Vinnick of the West. And I know Mr. Vinnick has sold his team. He's still got 2 years left as an owner, but he's been in it a long time, Mr. Vinnick, a long time. I don't blame him for selling. But Ryan Smith's like that kind of an owner, and that's a really good owner.
Yeah, and on that note, that's why I won't be surprised at all if they pull something off before the season starts, or maybe around the Thanksgiving freeze period, because they were trying to do something big at the draft. I know that for a fact, and he wants to make a splash. He's excited. He wants to continue this momentum.
Jimmy, they wanted to sign Aaron Ekblad. Like, they were going to go.
Oh, yeah. I think that's where he was going. They
were going big time to get him.
Yep. All right, next question. Randy Workman, if your Rangers would trade Lafreniere to get, would the Rangers trade Lafreniere to get Anderson?
Not unless Anderson was signed, I wouldn't.
Okay.
He's got a year left on his deal. I'm not doing that. No way. I got to know that he's signed. Sign and trade, that's fine. But I think about it on a sign and trade.
Yeah.
I would. But here's what I'd love to see. And again, I don't know whether Matt Coronado is going to stay at center or not. But I've watched both these players for a long time. And if Coronado played center and Lafreniere played the wing, I think it would be pretty good. I just see a blend there where that would work really well. But I wouldn't make that deal, Jimmy, unless Anderson was signed to a deal. No way.
Yeah, that's Rasmus Anderson. Pierre, just on Lafreniere, what's been the issue, you think, for him? Like, just what are you seeing? Because playing well.
It's hard to play in New York, you know. Yeah. People can say whatever they want. Oh, those guys are spoiled. The glare's on you.
Yeah.
And it's hard. And, you know, not everybody's as good as Henrik Lundqvist. Like, Lundqvist was amazing there. I don't think people realize how good Lundqvist was, and the pressure was on him every night. You know, you look at the Ranger, Messier was an amazing specimen. He was a winner, a champion guy. Right. Brian Leetch the same, but there are not a lot of guys. That market can eat you up pretty fast. And so I think there's been a lot of pressure on him. First overall pick, everybody expected him to be Jerome McGinley out of the gate. That's not the way it works.
He was really young when he came in. He's only 23 now.
So. No, he's just a kid. He's a kid.
Keep up on him. All right, next question. Marik, how are we doing, my friend? Marik is talk. Hello, Pierre. Hello, Jimmy. In hockey, there is some new trend that every player is franchise or elite. Please, guys, tell us the difference between really good players and elite/franchise players. That's a good point, Marik.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Part of
that word is thrown around way too loosely.
Part of it's social media. Part of it's the agents utilizing social media. Mm-hmm. I don't blame them. They have a job to do for their constituents. Okay, I'll give you. Sidney Crosby is a franchise player. He is. He's a franchise player. In his prime, Mika Zibanejad was an elite player, but he wasn't a franchise player. Is that fair? Would you agree?
Yeah.
Patrice Bergeron is a franchise player. David Krejci was an elite player.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I would, if that makes sense. If that makes sense.
All right, next question. A to Z me, why doesn't the NHLPA want players to be fitness tested? That's right. This is the last training camp. They'll do that. Seems like a strange thing to agree to for the league, in my opinion.
It's not a mountain you want to die on, a hill you want to die on. If you're the league, get, labor harmony. Yeah. If you can't figure out if a guy's in shape or not as a coach, you shouldn't have your job anyways. I think part of why the PA didn't want it, because the teams could hold those numbers against players. Not every, I'm not going to give you the player's name, but I had a player that couldn't do 2 pull-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't.
They can hold that against him in negotiations.
Yeah, right? But let me tell you right now, the guy could play. Like, he's a hell of a player. Hell of a player. And I threw him on the ice as much as possible. But I didn't give him I didn't give a poop if he could do a chin up or not. I care.
Turned out all right for Sam Bennett, didn't it? Remember?
So yeah, for sure. And so they didn't want him to hold it against players in negotiation. I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all.
Next question. Hendricks that can play, bro. Pierre, what moment in your career do you think about the most, whether anyone else would call it a big deal or not? So not winning a cup, but something maybe that's more special to you that not everyone else would see it.
I think being friends and roommates and coaching companion with Scotty Bowman, pretty amazing. And the other one was having breakfast almost every morning when the late Badger Bob Johnson died with him. I'd walk over to the hospital and have breakfast with him, and nobody saw that except the nurses and Mrs. Johnson, who's passed away, Martha. He loved glazed donuts, so he couldn't move his mouth. So I'd bring the donut to him and hold it in front of him, and he would lick the glaze off, and he couldn't talk because the cancer had gotten his brain. Yeah. So he would have a chalkboard, and he would write up. He goes, "That's good, Pierre." It was fun. It was good. So those are things I will always remember. But the relationship with Scotty and spending as much time as I did with Bob, especially near the end, was pretty cool.
All right, next question. Juice _031-017. Pierre, who was the best team in the 2010s that didn't win the cup?
What a good question.
Yeah.
What a really good question. That didn't win the cup in the 2010s. Tampa.
Yeah, that's right. Because
Tampa.
Yep. I'd agree with that.
Tampa had a chance in 15. They lost to Chicago. Rangers took them out a couple times. Pittsburgh, Tampa was really good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
All right. Next question. Ethan Russell, I hate talking about the McTavish stuff, but what is the return value? He's talking about Mason McTavish, who, by the way, is practicing with an OHL team right now.
Ottawa 67. Say the name, Jimmy.
Ottawa 67s. People on social media say prospects, but that doesn't make sense for Anaheim. Is this why we haven't seen any trade rumors?
No, but first of all, they don't have to trade him.
Yeah.
Why is everybody – you got to understand, he's he's not a UFA. He's a restricted free agent. There's no need to trade the player. Is it going to hurt the player that he's not in camp? It is. As you're talking to me, I just got a text from an NHL coach, and I was reading it as you were reading that question. And he was like, training camp, this coach is saying training camp is critically important. And if you're not part of it, you will not be able to keep up. And he's right. And we talked about this with Jeremy Swayman last year. I told you Mason McTavish has to be in camp ASAP. Luke Hughes has to be in camp ASAP. And if they're not, the first 15 to 20 games, they're going to, unless they're going in the next 3 or 4 days, they're going to be behind the 8 ball, both those guys.
Yeah, they're already starting games this weekend. So, all right, next question. Mariki's talk, Pierre, that means that Bedard and Celebrini are franchise players, elite, or Celebrini is franchise and Bedard elite?
Celebrini is a franchise player.
Yep.
He is a franchise player. I think Connor Bedard is too, but I don't think he's a franchise center iceman. I think he's a winger. And I think Chicago is going to be good. I saw them play a lot this weekend with their prospects, and their prospects are good. They are good. They're legit. They will, once they get established down the middle, Connor Bedard will be a winger, and he'll score. He's going to score 40 to 50 goals every year. He's a good player. So I'm going to say he's a franchise player too. I don't think he's generational like Crosby. I don't think he's generational like Kane was, but I think this guy's really good, really good.
And just on Luke Hughes too, I don't know if anyone saw Tom Fitzgerald said today, quote unquote, we will sign him.
Oh yeah. Again, please don't take me wrong. I want those guys to do as well as they can do, but there's nowhere for them to go.
Yeah.
If they want to play, and this, people need to remember, I learned this a long time ago. Every day that you miss once the regular season starts, you're never getting that money back, because that's when the clock starts ticking. So I learned this. I used this, and I did it with an agent once. I said, "You're prepared to have your guy do that?" I said, "If you owned an airline and the plane took off and you were happy that it had 50 empty seats, would you be happy when it landed with 50 empty seats?" Yeah. No, you want every one of those plane seats full, because you'll never recoup the money.
Yep.
you'll never recoup. It's just like a hockey player. Every pay period you miss, you're never getting that money back.
Yeah, the pressure points are coming. All right. Oh, they're already here. Next question. Randy Workman, does it bother you if your best player is not a captain candidate? No,
Not at all.
no. I actually, in fact, sometimes I don't like it when a guy gets a C just because he's the best player still.
Not at all. You could make arguments that one of the most important players on certain teams didn't have a letter because they didn't have the pressure of that, and they just went out and played.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you go look, Jimmy, right now. I'm telling you, go look at Kevin Stevens' record in 1991 and 1992 in the playoffs. His scoring numbers are insane. I think one year he had 17 goals, and I think the next year he had 15, if I remember correctly, Jimmy.
I'm looking up right now.
Like he didn't have he didn't have a letter, and he was a leader, man. Kevin was a leader for us. So in 91, did he have 17 playoff goals?
Yeah, you're right on the money. 17 goals, 16 assists.
Okay.
And then the following year, he had 13.
Okay, so I said 15, so I was off by a couple. So I'm just telling you, that guy was critically important. If we don't have him, we don't win.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just what he did output-wise.
Nope.
It's what he did challenging guys.
Yeah.
He had a letter.
Yeah.
I love Kevin. I can't. You're not supposed to love your players, supposed to like them all. I love Kevin. I love
Hope he's
Kevin.
watching. Kevin, if you are, hello. Next question. Ethan Russell, how long do you think it'll take the acquitted to get back to NHL form?
Pretty quick. You know, they're young still, most of them.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them probably had pretty intense training this summer, even though they were, going to court and dealing with things that I don't know enough about. So I'm not going to comment on that, but I don't think it'll take that long for them to get back.
Okay. Next question. Randy Workman, can you see the Oilers trading McDavid?
I'd be shocked, Jimmy. What about you?
Not right now.
Like, I know there's a history in Edmonton of trading great players. Like, I'll give you an example. Gretzky was traded. Fuhr was traded. McTavish was traded. Messier was traded. Coffey was traded. Yari Curry was traded. Glenn Anderson was traded. Like, I know there's a history of them trading away unbelievable players. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
This is different. Like, they got an owner that doesn't have a dollar problem.
Mm-hmm.
They got a brand new building that's full every night. Their fans are amazing. Amazing, Jimmy. Like, they're amazing fans in Edmonton. They really are. If he goes into the office and says, hey, I'll sign for 8 years at $18 million, you don't think they're going to do that?
Yeah, they'll do it in a heartbeat. My opinion, Pierre, I don't think he's signing for more than 4.
That's okay too. I don't care. Sign for 4 and win me 2 cups.
Yep. And then see what happens.
See what happens.
All right. Next question. Time to go. Any insight into the value LA places on Danault? Seems he'd be a great temp backup for Doc. Bring him back to Montreal. Left shot, strong face-off, solid PK. Thoughts on a package for him involving Newhook?
So I love that thought.
Yeah.
I think that's one we haven't heard. I'm a big Phil Danault fan. Like him a lot, respect him a lot. Really I think number 2 is a little high in the lineup for him, but if that's what they could do, I would do that.
Yep.
If Newhook was and I'm not in a rush to trade Newhook because I think Newhook's a really good winger. But if that would be the price point to get a player like that, I would definitely have to consider that.
I like it a lot too. My question, Pierre, is would LA want to do that and why?
I don't know.
Yeah,
Kenny's new, right? Kenny's a new GM. I don't know. It depends on what the conversations have with his coaches. Somebody told me there was a big announcement in LA today. Was there a big announcement in LA today?
I didn't see anything.
Oh yeah, there was nothing going in LA today. I was working out and saw a text coming to me saying there's supposed to be something big happening in LA today. I said, I haven't heard anything.
Nothing yet from what I've seen all day, but maybe it's still only 150 there, so it could still come.
Okay.
All right, next question. Hendricks that can play, bro. If you're Martin St. Louis, how patient are you with Doc at 2C, especially if he's bad 5-on-5 again?
I would have a hard time being patient. I like what Marty said yesterday. Mm-hmm. Marty said, look, I blame myself for last year, the start of the season, because they were discombobulated. They really were. They were discombobulated. We said it on the show the other day.
Oh, yeah.
And I expect they're going to come out with a way different purpose this year.
Mhm.
But I don't think they're going to tolerate guys that aren't playing to the level they need them to. I really don't. I could be wrong, but based on what he said yesterday, I think there's a standard that was created. I know what we did in Pittsburgh. And again, I know people say, oh, that was 30 years ago or whatever. It was, but hockey hadn't changed. You still have to create standards. And I know what we did. I was running the practices. The standards were high. That's why guys like Kevin Stevens were so valuable. He, as intense as you wanted to be as a coach, he could match the intensity as a player.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we had that was special. Our players didn't take it personal if you challenged them. They accepted and said, I want to measure up. Let's go.
Yeah. I want to ask you this, Pierre, for a kid that's in his situation where he has to know this too, that this is, it's unfortunate the injuries he's had, but he has to know this could be it for his time in Montreal. How much are you watching his body expressions, his facial expressions, how he reacts to a bad play or being on the ice for a goal to know if he's back and know if he can get through this?
What a great question. A lot. I like that, the way you phrase that too, Jimmy. It's important. Body language matters. Reaction matters. Confidence. You go back to the bench. If a goalie makes an unbelievable save on you, act like you're going to score on him the next time. Don't like, oh my God, So I think that matters.
Yeah, I think that's something that will matter too with him. All right, next question. Ethan Russell, Jimmy, this one's mostly for you because you're around the team. What's the talk on Matthew Poitras? Do you think he's going to be on the opening night roster? That's a great question. I think he's definitely one of the big question marks here. And thanks for the question, Ethan. I like what I saw in him, his willingness to go down there and take the assignment to Providence and improve his game. And I think even if they were to say, look, we want you down there a little more, we'll give you another shot during the season, I don't think it's going to crush him the way people think. I think he can handle that, and he's willing to do more if he has to. So that's where I see him at right now.
I love that.
All right.
The kid's talented. I think the Bruins made a big mistake 2 years ago. He physically wasn't ready to play in the league.
Yeah, I remember saying we said that on the show.
We said it on the show.
Put him back to junior. Yep.
Yeah, I said put him right back to junior. He's not physically ready. I know how hard it is.
Yeah.
Like
the skill's not a question. The
skill level's unbelievable. Vision's great, strength on the puck, awesome. But when you get a 220-pound guy that's angry and has a mortgage payment the next day, you don't want to get run over by him.
All right, next question. Juice _031017. Not a hockey question, but Pierre, what was it like watching the 2007 Giants beat the 16-0 New England Patriots as a Giants fan? Really, Juice?
It was awesome, baby. It was so good. So much to love. It's funny because I remember wide right from Buffalo and the Giants like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I was actually scouting a junior game in Granby, Quebec when that happened.
Wow.
I was.
1990. Yep.
Yeah. I was scouting a junior game in Granby, Quebec. And the player that I was watching ended up being a Penguin, but he started out with a different organization, the Buffalo Sabres, Philip Boucher.
There you go. Nice.
Philip Boucher. And what a gentleman. He could shoot the puck like Al McInnes. That guy could hammer it. But he went to Dallas. I think he went Buffalo, Dallas, Pittsburgh at the end, something like that. And he was a gentleman, always a gentleman. And I told him that story once. I said, hey, I was up here watching you. And I said, I missed the Super Bowl. Giants won.
Oh, by the way, not to interrupt, Pierre, Randy Workman telling us the Kings announced their broadcast team. That's what it was.
Oh, okay. That's already been announced. Okay.
Yeah, that was announced, I thought, last week.
Yeah, okay. So that's
okay. By the way, Pierre, just on that note, were you watching the Super Bowl there in Grant? I imagine, how many times have you gotten to watch the Super Bowl at home over the course of your career? I bet not much, right?
The best part about working at NBC, this is a good story about NBC. We always did the Sunday game in Washington, but it was like a 12 o'clock start.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually, by the time the game finished, let's say it started at 12:08 because they do the anthem. By the time the game finished, you could actually get in a car service and get to Reagan International Airport and catch the 4 o'clock flight to New York. I lived in Connecticut then. Yeah. So I'd make it back just for the opening kickoff. So I'm going to say
that's good.
I worked for NBC for 16 years. 11 were in the States. I did all 11 of those Super Bowl Sunday games. So
That's good.
Probably 11. But
Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
I've been alive for every Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
I got a good story to tell you. If you want to go down that road, I'm playing pro hockey. I'm playing pro hockey in Europe, and the Oakland Raiders are playing the Washington Redskins, and that was their name at the time, the Washington Redskins. So don't send me emails.
Yep.
Okay, that was their name at the time. Now they're the Commanders, and I will call them the Commanders going forward. But that was their name then.
Heisman on the team then?
No.
Okay, it's before that. Okay.
So it was 1984.
Okay.
84 Super Bowl. Okay. And Jack Squirick from Oakland makes this unbelievable interception. And it was on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I was laying in my bed listening to Armed Forces Radio after a game. We had played a game that day. So it was a Sunday. We had played a game that day. And I think I had a decent game. And we had gone out as a team for a few cocktails. And I said, I got to go home. And they're like, why not? Why are you staying? They thought I was being antisocial. I said, I got to go listen to the Super Bowl. You couldn't watch it back then overseas.
Oh, wow.
And I listened to it on Armed Forces Radio. And I'll never forget. I think it was Jack Buck. Jack Buck and Hank Stram, I think, were doing the game on the radio. And I'm pretty sure it was Jack Buck. And he says, Jack Squirick with an interception. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Oh.
That's great. Good stuff. Yeah, you know what? Another time we'll get into Super Bowl memories, but great show. Thank you to Deputy Commissioner Bill Daly for joining us here in the
That was awesome, Bill. Thank you, Bill. You were great. Thanks.
We appreciate him always coming on here. Thanks to Shane working the boards up in Montreal, and thanks to you, the viewers and the listeners, and especially for your questions. We love them. Keep them coming. Tomorrow, remember, no Q&A. We are pre-recording because it is on campus Friday, and our guest will be University of Denver head coach David Carl. So until then, we'll talk to you then on another edition of the Eye Test on the Sick Podcast Network.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Eye Test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.